Ferrari, the name that doesn't just whisper speed and beauty, it screams it. But what if I told you that among the endless posters, roaring V12 engines, and billion-dollar auctions, there are 8 Ferraris that rise above everything else? Machines so perfect they've become immortal. We're not talking about cars that were just fast for their time. These are the Ferraris that changed the game, the ones that turned racetracks into history books, bank accounts into empty shells, and ordinary drivers into legends. Some of these cars were born in the crucible of racing. Others were engineered with such obsession that even Formula One teams looked at them in awe. And a few, they became rolling works of art so valuable that billionaires will fight to the last bid just to park one in a climate-controlled garage. So, buckle in. From the holy grail of classics to the cutting edge of hybrid hypercars, these are the 8 best Ferraris ever made in history. And before we dive in, hit that subscribe button because we will be doing a giveaway for a Formula One ticket to one lucky winner. Like this video, drop a comment with your thoughts, and let us know which other best or worst list you want us to cover. Whichever suggestion gets the most likes, we'll make it happen. Ferrari 308/328 series. You've seen it on TV, you've seen it in magazines, and if you grew up in the 1980s, chances are you dreamed of it every night. The Ferrari 308 and its successor, the 328, weren't just cars, they were a turning point. For Ferrari, this was survival. The 1970s had been brutal. Regulations, emissions, and a shaky global economy meant Ferrari needed something that wasn't just beautiful, but also profitable. Enter the 308. Styled by Pininfarina, the 308 had the curves, the stance, and the road presence of a true exotic. And when it hit TV screens on Magnum PI with Tom Selleck behind the wheel, it became more than a car. It became a cultural icon. Under the rear deck sat a 2.9-liter V8 pushing out around 255 horsepower. Respectable, but the real magic was in the balance. Mid-engine layout, responsive handling, and just enough power to remind you this wasn't some German commuter. It was a Ferrari. The 328 refined the recipe. Slightly larger engine, better build quality, sharper styling, but the soul remained. And here's why it matters. These cars introduced thousands of new buyers to the Ferrari world. They were exotic but approachable, expensive but not impossible. Without the 308/328, Ferrari may not have survived the 1980s the way it did. They weren't just great cars, they were the backbone of Ferrari's future. Ferrari F50. Imagine this, a Formula One engine, barely detuned, dropped into a road car. That's the Ferrari F50. Built to celebrate Ferrari's 50th anniversary, only 349 were made. And unlike the F40 before it, which used turbos and raw brutality, the F50 went back to Ferrari's racing roots. Its 4.7-liter naturally aspirated V12 was derived directly from their 1990 Formula One car. The numbers: 513 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, and a top speed just under 200 miles per hour. But the real story isn't the numbers, it's the experience. The F50 didn't just put you in the driver's seat, it strapped you into the very DNA of Ferrari's racing program. Carbon fiber tub, manual gearbox, no driver aids, no turbos. This was Ferrari's philosophy at its purest. If you weren't good enough to handle it, the car wouldn't save you. And while some at the time criticized it for being too raw, too uncompromising, history has been kind. Today, the F50 is seen as the last of the true analog V12 supercars, a machine that blurred the line between Formula One and the open road. Ferrari 355 GTB/4 Daytona. One glance and you know exactly what it is. The Ferrari Daytona. Aggressive, sharp, a dagger on wheels. Launched in 1968, it was Ferrari's answer to the Lamborghini Miura. And boy, did it deliver. Under that long hood sat a 4.4-liter Colombo 512 making 352 horsepower. That might not sound earth-shattering today, but in the late 60s, it was dynamite. Top speed? 174 miles per hour. That made it the fastest production car in the world. And it wasn't just speed, it was drama. Long hood, short rear deck, low stance. It looked like it was breaking the speed limit standing still. Nicknamed Daytona after Ferrari's famous 1-2-3 finish at the 1967 24 Hours of Daytona, it became a symbol of Ferrari dominance both on and off the track. The Daytona was brutal to drive. Heavy steering, heavy clutch, and if you weren't careful, it could bite. But that was part of the appeal. This was Ferrari at full intensity. No apologies, no compromises. Today, it's not just a collectible. It's one of the most celebrated Grand Tourers ever made. Number 5. Ferrari F355. Fast forward to the 1990s. Ferrari had lost some of its shine. Build quality was questionable, performance was being overshadowed by Japanese rivals, and enthusiasts were beginning to whisper, "Has Ferrari lost it?" Then came the F355. Sleek, elegant, and perfectly balanced, the F355 was the car that put Ferrari back on top. Pininfarina sculpted it into a masterpiece, with the now iconic flying buttress rear pillars framing the rear glass. Underneath, a 3.5-liter V8 producing 375 horsepower. But it wasn't just the power, it was how it delivered it. That V8 screamed to 8,500 RPM, producing a soundtrack so addictive you didn't need a radio. The F355 introduced innovations too, things like the F1-style paddle-shift gearbox, which later became a Ferrari staple. But even in manual form, it was magical. The car was approachable, usable, but still every bit a Ferrari. For many, it's still the most beautiful modern Ferrari ever made. And without it, Ferrari's reputation in the 1990s might have faded. Instead, the F355 reminded the world exactly who they were dealing with. Number 4. Ferrari LaFerrari. Hybrid power is used to make purists roll their eyes. LaFerrari turned those eyes wide open. Here is why. Ferrari did not add electricity to save fuel, they added it to go faster. The hypercars system pairs a 6.3-liter V12 that sings to 9,000 RPM with an electric motor that fills every gap in the rev range. No waiting, no flat spots, just a tidal wave of thrust that builds and builds until your brain is playing catch-up. The total output is rated at 950 horsepower, but the way it delivers that power is the real magic. The V12 gives you the drama, the electric motor gives you instant punch, the dual-clutch gearbox keeps the hit coming without a pause. It feels like one engine with two hearts. Under the skin, it is pure race car thinking. A carbon fiber tub developed with Ferrari's Formula One team for maximum stiffness and minimum weight. The battery pack is mounted low and central to keep the mass where it helps, not hurts. Weight distribution is razor sharp, the center of gravity is astonishingly low, and the suspension uses magnetorheological dampers that read the road and react in real time. Active aerodynamics move constantly, spoilers and flaps trimming drag on the straights, piling on downforce in the corners, always chasing that tiny extra slice of grip. On paper, it is outrageous. 0 to 60 in about 2.5 seconds, more than 217 miles per hour at the top end. On track, it is even better because the electric torque does not fade with altitude and does not get confused by hairpins. You roll back into the power and the car slingshots forward as if the circuit tilted downhill. The brakes are monsters too, carbon ceramics tied into energy recovery, so even slowing down feeds the battery for the next launch. Every lap is an attack that funds the next attack. Look closer at the details and the intent becomes obvious. The seating position is fixed like in a prototype racer. The pedal box and wheel come to you. The steering wheel is a cockpit of its own, lights for shift points, Menatino for driving modes, instant control without taking your hands off the rim. The cabin is stripped of fluff, yet still beautiful in that purposeful Ferrari way. It is theater, but it is functional theater. Exclusivity only turned the heat up. Only 500 coupes were built, and the allocation was spoken for before most people even saw the car in person. The open-top Aperta that followed became an instant unicorn. Then Ferrari pushed the concept to the edge with the track-only FXXK program, a rolling laboratory with even more power and even more aero, where owners become test drivers and the factory gathers data for future cars. That is the part most people miss. LaFerrari is not only a flagship, it is a development tool, a proof of concept for how electricity and emotion can live in the same body. Most hybrids make you think about numbers. LaFerrari makes you feel something. It blends the spine-tingling wail of a naturally aspirated V12 with the brutal shove of electric torque, then wraps it in a chassis that reads your intent before you finish the thought. It is not the end of the old world or the start of a new one. It is the bridge, the moment Ferrari proved that future tech can amplify soul instead of replacing it. Ferrari Enzo. Named after the man himself, the Ferrari Enzo was never going to be ordinary. Launched in 2002, it was Ferrari's technological flagship. Formula One aerodynamics, carbon fiber construction, and an engine that felt like it was borrowed straight from their race cars. A 6.0-liter V12 producing 650 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. Top speed 217 miles per hour. But beyond the numbers, it was the philosophy. This was Ferrari taking everything they knew from Formula One and applying it to the road. The Enzo's styling divided opinion at first, sharp, angular, almost alien compared to Ferrari's flowing lines of the past, but it grew into its own legend, and today it's one of the most desirable Ferraris ever built. Only 400 were made, and their values have skyrocketed. Because the Enzo isn't just a car, it's Ferrari's ultimate tribute to their founder. Ferrari 250 GTO. And now, the king. The crown jewel. The car that defines Ferrari, the 250 GTO. Built between 1962 and 1964, only 36 were ever made, and every single one has a story. Designed by Sergio Scaglietti, the body was a masterpiece, sleek, purposeful, sculpted for speed. Under the hood, a 3.0-liter V12 producing 300 horsepower. Modest by today's standards, but in the early 60s, it was unstoppable. The GTO wasn't just beautiful, it was dominant. Nearly 300 racing victories worldwide. It wasn't just built for show, it was built to win. And here's the kicker. The 250 GTO is now the most expensive Ferrari ever sold at auction. Over $70 million for a single car. Not because it's just rare, not because it's just fast. It represents everything Ferrari stands for: beauty, performance, exclusivity, and victory. The 250 GTO isn't just the best Ferrari ever made, it's the best car ever made, period. From the approachable 308 to the priceless 250 GTO, Ferrari's greatest hits aren't just cars. They're chapters in a story that spans decades of passion, innovation, and obsession. Some were raw and terrifying, others were elegant and refined. A few brought technology from the racetrack straight to the street, but all of them carried the prancing horse with pride. And here's the truth: Ferrari doesn't always get it right, but when they do, they don't just build cars, they build legends. So now it's your turn. Which of these Ferraris do you think deserves the crown as the greatest of all time? Or maybe there's another model you believe belongs on this list. Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to hit that like button, smash subscribe, and join the community. Remember, we're giving away a Formula One ticket to one lucky subscriber. Like the video, leave your comments, and let us know what best or worst list you want us to cover next. Whichever idea gets the most likes will be the next video we make. Because when it comes to Ferrari and the car world as a whole, this channel is where we uncover the legends, the controversies, and the stories that fuel the passion.